Many moons ago, under the reign of the Monkey King, a seemingly ordinary kitten was born. This kitten was named Wuzhwa, meaning 5-claw, which is a fine number, indeed the usual one for a cat to have on each paw. Unfortunately, Wuzhwa was born into a family of 6-clawed cats, who served, fortified by their inbuilt weapons, as palace guards to the Monkey King. Because Wuzhwa was lacking supplementary claws, the king presumed she would never excel as a warrior. Her mother, Mao Mao, was otherwise convinced. Mao Mao had faith in all her kittens, especially this peculiar one. But as a servant to the Monkey King, she was contracted to obey His Highness's every order. Breach of this contract would result in swift and certain death. The Monkey King's esteemed physician examined Mao Mao's entire litter and proclaimed the lot to be of sound body and mind. Yet regardless of her good health, Wuzhwa was declared a burden, useless to the palace without an overabundant 24 claws. Therefore, the king demanded that she be drowned. He gave Mao Mao until sunrise to bid her daughter farewell to Shoestring, god of all water. Mao Mao went to the king and begged that her child be spared.
Are there not many ways in which a bright, strong kitten might serve the palace?
You bear my guards,
the steadfast Monkey King replied.
This is your one and only duty. I have no other purpose for you or your kin.
Mao Mao fell to the cold, hard, jade-tiled floor, weeping bitterly. Tiny Wuzhwa licked the tears from her mother's furry cheek. She was very brave, every inch the soldier she was born to be. Wuzhwa would gladly face death before she'd shame her family. Wuzhwa's elder brothers lifted their mother from the floor while their sister continued to lick Mao Mao's face clean. The Monkey King's prime minister, a stranger to compassion, hissed at them ruthlessly.
Truly our wise leader knows all. The babe craves water over milk, and soon she'll have all that she can swallow.
Mao Mao longed to run off with her odd little 5-clawed kitten, but she knew she'd be risking the golden future that awaited the rest of her brood. If only she could find a way for Wuzhwa to live happily ever after without the tender loving care of family. If only she could issue her daughter a true farewell, a farewell promised rather than merely wished. That night, the water god, Shoestring, woke Mao Mao from a fitful slumber. He had taken the dragon's form, but left aside its renowned ferocity. Shoestring gently led Mao Mao to a window overlooking his favorite earthly domain, Kung Fu, the Yellow River. Then he pointed a razor-sharp claw toward the litter of sleeping kittens, all rolled into one furry ball, resembling some sort of mythic many-tailed beast. Though fact appeared far less likely than fiction, Mao Mao was never one to scoff at novel realities. She did her best to affix both eyes to the unearthly truth, to keep all 4 feet firmly planted on the ground. Faith must be placed in the deities, but never ever blindly, and one mustn't tread amiss during a visit from the great beyond. While Shoestring answered a calling much higher than the Monkey King's, a mother's humble response would seal Wuzhwa's fate. If Mao Mao failed to interpret the water god's mystical message, her darling daughter would be lost by sunrise. The Yellow River and a many-tailed beast. What could it mean?
Mercy,
purred Mao Mao as the puzzle pieces hinged together. Years earlier, in the Monkey Kingdom, a princess had been born with what was said to be a hideous deformity. Shortly after birth, the royal infant was sent up the river, so to speak, to a private fortress where she'd remain unseen. The particular disfigurement was an inner palace secret, one to which Mao Mao's eldest offspring were privy, for they had been sent to protect the fortress before its alligator-ridden moats were built. The monkey princess requested that servants address her by her given name, Shuangwei, meaning 2 tails, as many of which she did indeed possess. Momo was a great believer in nature's harmony. Perhaps Shuangwei's extra tail and Bourgeois' missing claws would act as counterbalances. If nothing else, the princess could surely use a friend, and who would understand her better than another of her father's castaways? Thus, the royal decree was disobeyed in favor of the water god's commandment. Bourgeois would join Shuangwei up the river. Getting the frail kitten there safely was a matter of concern, but Momo would commend her to Fuzzy Wuz She. Bourgeois was given his blessing in the form of a dragon claw charm. As long as she wore this talisman, the water would do her no bodily harm. Momo spent the rest of the night gathering twigs and weaving them together while her litter slept on peacefully. By dawn, a sturdy kitten-sized raft had been carefully constructed. The family bade Bourgeois a true farewell on the riverside. Momo whispered to the water gratefully, "You may be known as China's sorrow, but you offer me great joy. Please, be gentle with my babe." And as the sun slowly rose, Bourgeois drifted quietly up the Yellow River against the current and most earthly odds.